this YouTube video. In our last session, we have seen the chapter number 1, what, how and where. In that chapter, we have seen first what is history. What was our topic? Our topic was what is history. So what we have seen in the concept of this, we have seen the history means our past, the whatever the activity we have done before a day, before a month, before a year or before a decade. That means if we remind that all activity today, it is called history, right? And now again we have seen why do we study history. The second point was why do we study history. That means the history is related to us. That means we are living the life right now and it is little bit connected to our history. So what was that point? That means history makes us think, question and express our view. That's why we should study history. We all are the part of history and we are connected with history. And history makes us a connection between the past and the present, right? This also we have seen that history make a connection between the past and the present. With example, we have seen this topic. And we all are the part of history. Yes, who we are is because of our history. This also we have seen. For getting this all the information, we should study history. Even we learn about our customs and tradition from the history. That means in our family, what our grandparents were celebrating some festival and how they were celebrating that. This everything is coming from our history. So we learn our customs and tradition from the history. That's why we should study history. And history tells us about how people lived and behaved in the past. If we study history, then we can see in the ancient period how the people were living and how they used to eat and how they used to celebrate any festival, what type of costume they were wearing. These all things, if we study history, then we get the information of these all things. That's why we should study history. But how do we study history? The next point was how do we study history? Is there any source to study history? Any material is there to study the history? Yes, there are two sources to study history. First source which we have seen, there are archaeological sources. In archaeological sources, what we have seen? We have seen the monuments, the buildings, inscriptions we have seen, coins, pillar, vessels, pots. This everything we have seen in our last period. That means the first source of learning history is archaeological source, where the written material and the writing pattern was not there that time. The archaeological source helped us to study history. Now our next point today, what we are going to see today? Today we are going to see the second source is literary source. The second source is literary source, and what we are going to see in this source? Manuscript, religious literatures and secular literature. These all 3 points today we are going to see. So the page number 15, and what is there? The literary source. So what is there in the literary source? First we read and then explain. Human learns to write about 500 years ago. They invented letter and put letters and symbols together to form the words and sentence. That means the human learned to write about 5 years ago. That means 5 years ago, the ancient people learned about to read and write. Right? They found some letters, some symbols, and they put all the letters and symbols together. Then they made some words and named that word, and then we can read that words. That means before 5 years ago, the people learned to read and write. That's why it's called literary source. When the literary when people learn the literature, how to read and write, that time this literary source invented that time. So before 5,000 years ago, people learned to read and write, and even they invented many letters and symbols, and they put all the letters, they make some sentence, they make some words, this everything they invented together to form the words and sentences. They used various types of script. Our knowledge of history is largely based on the written record. With the help of that letters and symbols, they made a long script. And this literary source help us more to know about the history. That means if you get the knowledge about, if you want to know about the history, so with the help of this literary source we can read about it. That means about the particular region of the king, particular period of the king, and the dynasties of the king. This everything we can read with the help of literary source. Historians give a special emphasis to written records such as book, manuscript, writing on rocks, pillar, parchment, that means skin of sheep and goats, bark of birch trees, palm leaves, clay, tablets and stone walls. That means historians give a special emphasis to written records such as books. That means in the that means what in literary source you can see, in the literary source written record is there, some manuscript is there, and writing on rocks, pillar, parchment, bark of trees, this everything we can see. With the help of this all thing, historian write about the history. That means some curved letter is there, some curved text is there on the pillar. So what about that pillar, which information that pillar is giving us, this everything they have written in the book. So there are the range of literary source available to historian to learn about the past. Then there is lots of literary sources were available in the history, in today also, and in history also. With the help of that we read about it. These include manuscript, stories, religious text, biographies and account of travelers. Now what will come in the literary source? There is the manuscript, that means some books, right? Then stories, religious literature will there. Religious literature means dharmic literature. Religious text, and the biographies means that someone has written about the particular king or queen, and they have written about all the information about the kingdom and their empire and about the king's activities, that means biographies. And the account of foreign travelers. Account of foreign travelers means many foreigners came to India to visit the kings or king, or to get information about their kingdom. So they have written their own experience. Many foreigners came to India and they have experienced many things from the India, and they all written all the experience in some particular books. That means some foreign travelers account is also important to know the information of the past. So let's see what is manuscript. Manuscript is a handwritten record of information. Manuscript is handwritten record made of dried palm leaves. This is handwritten record to get the information of the past. That means handwritten record, that means some historian has written all the experiences, all their personal experiences about the particular period, of the king, and they have written all things with their own hands on the book. That means this manuscript means handwritten record. It could be in the form of letter, writing on leaves and the bark of trees, or scroll. That means This manuscript is what? This is the form of the letter. But on what it was written? It was written on palm leaves. It was made by of dried palm leaves. Palm leaves was there, and with the help on that palm leaves, the historian written this all things. Or sometimes on leaves and the bark of leaves, that means barks of leaves means the layer of the trunk of the tree. The layer of the trunk of the tree, it is the bark of the trees or stole. Palm leaves manuscript made of dried palm leaves. That means palm leaf is made by dried palm leaves. They cannot write the manuscript on fresh leaves, so they use the dried leaves to write the manuscript. Were commonly used in India, they served as a paper and were used to record actual and mythical events. That means today we can see that palm leaves as a paper, as a newspaper which we are using right now. It is made by the palm leaves. Many manuscripts have been preserved in libraries and museums. That means many ancient manuscripts today also, if we see in any library, so many ancient manuscripts will be there available in some libraries and some museums. Manuscripts help us to understand the form of script used in the olden times. That means manuscript help us to get the knowledge about the past, right? If we go any library or museum, so you can see the manuscript is there which is written on the dried palm leaves, so that manuscript help us to know the information about the past. The written material could be religious or secular, non-religious. That means this is religious. Some manuscripts are religious and some are secular. Secular means not religious. It is about the political, like stories. This everything will include in this. But this religious literature is just based on the religion, particular religions. Now see what is religious literature, right? Now first you see this manuscript is there, palm leaf manuscript. This type is the manuscript, and it is also available in some particular library, so you can see it there. With the help of this palm leaves manuscript, we get the knowledge about the past. Now religious literature. Books and manuscripts that deal with religious are referred to as religious literature. That means which book deals with the religion, it is called religious literature. That means the books like Ramayana, Mahabharata, or what is called Quran. That all things according to this all books include in religious literature, right? That means religious literature throw the light on the life of the people, how they worship the god or goddess and how they feel about their religion. This everything we'll see in this topic. So books and manuscripts that deal with the religious are referred to as religious literature. The Vedas, the Epic, Ramayana and the Mahabharata, the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Jain Angas and the Buddhist Tripitakas are example of religious literature. So Bhagavad Gita also will be there, Ramayana, Mahabharata. These all books tell us the information about particular religion, even how they worship their God, and it also tells us the social life and the social traditions of that particular religion. That means the religious literature tells us the information about the social and traditional life of the ancient people, and even it throw the light on the social activities of that particular period's people. These tales help us to understand the religious practice and the beliefs and the social and economic life of the period. Yes, these tales, this religious literature tell us the religious practice and belief of the people. Even it tell us the social and economical life of the people. You please note down this main point in your notebook. Now after religious literature, what is there? Secular literature. That means religious literature is totally based on the religion, particular religion, and about the religious book we can see in the religious literature. But the secular literature is totally opposed of the religious literature. That means secular literature means non-religious literature. Secular literature means non-religious literature. That means you cannot find any religious book in the secular literature. That means let's see, the secular literature contains all those texts that are non-religious nature, such as autobiographies, biographies and court chronicles. Right now here in the secular literature there is no book of about the any religions. That means we can see in the secular literature just autobiographies, biographies and the court chronicles. That means autobiographies means any king or any queen, they themselves have written about themselves. Any king or queen, they only have written about themselves with their own handwriting. It is called autobiography. And the biography also we can see in the secular literature. That means the someone has written their own experiences about some region of particular king. That means the biography. And the court chronicle means that someone also has written about their own experiences about the king empire, about the kingdom, about the king's activities. This also called court chronicles. So what we are going to see here, we just going to see here the autobiographies, biographies and court chronicle. Harsh Charitra, the biography of King Harshvardhan written by the Bana Bhatta. That means there is the famous biography, you also underline there. There is the word famous biography about the King Harshvardhana. About the King Harshvardhana, and it is who has written this biography? Bana Bhatta has written this biography. So which biography is there? Haricharitra. Harshcharita is the biography about the King Harshvardhana and it is written by Bana Bhatta. So you just underline the famous biography Harshcharita. Which biography is there? Harshcharita is the biography written by the Bana Bhatta and it is about the King Harshvardhana. The poems and dramas written by the famous writer, even you can see in the secular literature, some poems, some dramas, some stories, this also you can see. The famous such as Abhijan Shakuntala by the Kalidas, folk tales such as the Panchatantra, work on the politics such as Kautilya's Arthashastra and the books on law such as Manusmriti are the example of secular literature. That means what we can see here, we can see just the autobiographies and biographies and some poems, stories and court chronicle. This everything will include in, everything will comes in the secular literature, and there are famous biography Harshcharitra, some stories and poem, drama is also there, Arthashastra is there, Manusmriti. These are the famous secular literature. This is the famous secular literature, Arthashastra, Harshcharita, Manusmriti and Indika. This is the famous secular literature. But this book will not tell us information about particular religion. It is not telling us information about the particular religion. Many writers and scholar traders visited India at the various times and wrote about their experiences here and the account of these foreign travelers from the important historical source. Yes, in the last period also we have seen what is that means what is foreign account. That means many foreigners came to India to visit India and they have visited to the king's kingdom, their empire, even they have took their own experiences in India. So, or they have written their own experiences in some particular book. So, that account, that record is called foreign travelers account. Many writers, scholars and traders visited India at the various times and wrote about their experiences here. They visited here, they have taken their own experiences and even they have written their own experiences here. So, the account of these foreign travelers forms an important historical source. So, the foreign travelers account is also that much important to get the information about the past. So, Mangestan, the Greek ambassador, visited the court of Chandragupta Maurya and he wrote a book called Indika, which gives us valuable information about the Mauryan society. So, which foreigner come here? The foreigner name is Megasthenes, the Greek ambassador. It was a Greek ambassador named Megasthenes. He came to India, he visited India and he visited to court of Chandragupta Maurya. He visited to court of Chandragupta Maurya. Even he has taken his own experience and then he write the information about the Mauryan society in his book. What he has written, he visited to Chandragupta Maurya's court and he has taken his own experience. Then he had written about the Mauryan society, how the people, that means particular society, Mauryan society, about Mauryan society he has written, that Greek ambassador, and how the people used to live, how they used to eat and how they talking with each other and how they behave, the socialization of that people he has written in that book, and that book name is Indika. That book name is Indika. This book is written by the Greek ambassador named Megasthenes. He wrote a book called Indika which gives us valuable information about the Mauryan society. If you read this book Indika, so you will get the valuable information of Mauryan society. Other important accounts include those given by the Chinese traveler. That means many Chinese people also visited to India. The many Chinese traveler also came to India. They visited India. They also have written their own experiences. Other important accounts include those given by the Chinese traveler Fa He and Hui Sung, who came to India to study Buddhism and wrote about the people, their lifestyle and the society at that time. That means many Chinese travelers also came to India to study about the Buddhism. That means many Chinese people came to India, many scholar people from the Chinese, they came to India to study about Buddhism. Then they also took the experience, they also took the personal experience in India and they also have written their experiences in particular book. And what they have written in their book, the Chinese people, what they have written? They written the lifestyle of the people, the society, the socialization of the people, about the society, and about the lifestyle of the people. So this also tell us how the common people lived and what food they ate, clothes and rules followed. That means the social people, common people life. These Chinese people, what they have written in their book, they have written their own experiences about the common people lifestyle. That means which food they were going to eat, or which food they ate, which kind of clothes they wore, which kind of festival they celebrated, these all things, and which kind of rules they were followed. This everything they have written in their book. Now the oral history is there. What is the oral history? Now we have seen manuscript. We have seen manuscript means the handmade record. It is made by the dried palm leaves, which we can see in this period. We can see the palm leaves as a serving as a paper. Now the religious literature. In religious literature, we just get the information about the particular religion, like Ramayana, Mahabharata, or in some Buddhism religious, some Christian religious. We also get many more information with the help of this religious literature. This religious literature only tell us how the about the people's tradition, their customs, and their beliefs, and how they worship the god and goddess. This everything will see in the religious literature. And about the secular literature, this is totally opposite of that. In the secular literature, it is non-religious literature. Secular literature is non-religious literature, and this literature just state the biographies, autobiographies, court chronicles, and the foreign travelers account. Now the oral history is there. This is also the another source, oral history. You also see in your book another source used by the historian is oral history. That means there is no need of any written record, no need of any tools, no need of any object to present the oral history. So it is called oral history. Oral history refers to the record of historical information which is based on the personal experience and opinion of the speaker. Oral history involves the use of interview, myths, folk tales, songs that have been passed down from the generation to generation through the word mouth. That means in oral history you cannot see any book there. You just see some folk tales, some song, some poems. This everything we can see in the oral history, and this oral history is coming from the generation to generation just by orally, through the word of the mouth. Through the word of mouth and generation to generation, we can see that means some world famous any rhyme is there, some lori is there, which our mother used to tell. So that same lori our grandmothers also told to our mother. That means it is the famous lori is coming from the generation to generation. That means the oral history. And in this oral history, some story, folk tales is there, songs there, poems there, and this is coming from the generation to generation through the word of mouth. So you will come across the example of written and archaeological source in the coming chapter. This will give you a better understanding how sources are used to reconstruct the history. So what we have seen oral history, we also have seen what comes in oral history. In oral history, we just seen some folk tale, some songs, some poem, some particular dance, which is coming from generation to generation by the through the oral of the mouth. Right? Now we'll see the reconstruction of the past. This everything we have seen. I hope you have written this main point, and whenever we read the main sentence, you just try to understand and underline that particular sentence. Now the reconstruction of history we'll see in our next video. So we have just covered right now what is history, why do we study history, the sources of history, archaeological source and literary source. This also we have seen in literary source, what we have seen, the religious literature, secular literature, manuscript and the oral history we have seen. Now in our next video we are going to see the reconstruction of the history, geographical location and when does the history take place. This everything we'll see in our next video. Till then, bye bye, take care and thank you.